Hello, I am Rhonda Kettner, a clinical social worker at Health Directions. My webinar topic today is the 5 love languages. Each of us is in some sort of relationship. It could be a comfortable, loving relationship with a partner, other family members, children, or friends, or it could be an uncomfortable, antagonistic, or even hostile relationship. Love is the most foundational building block of relationships. One of the most important relationships we will share is the relationship we have with our spouse or significant other. Those of us with children also share relationships with them. As we become partners and as we become parents and our schedules become busier and the days become longer, we feel pulled in many directions. We often become so focused on our children that our spouses tend to take a back seat. One day, however, we will once again return to primarily sharing our life with our partner. For some of us, that means not really knowing the person who is sitting across the table anymore. We may feel like we are speaking 2 different languages. Learning your love language and that of your partner and children, as well as learning to communicate in these languages, may be one of the most important things you can do for your family. It could completely change the emotional climate. It doesn't matter how old we are or how long we have been together. It is never too late to learn this. In this webinar, I would like to share some ideas that came from the book, The 5 Love Languages, written by Dr. Gary Chapman. Each of us has a primary way of expressing and interpreting love. If we can figure this out for ourselves and our partner, our expressions of love won't get lost in the translations and influence our partner's attitude and behavior. Of the countless ways we can show love to each other, there are 5 key categories. Everyone has a love language, and each of us can identify with at least one of the 5 languages. We must be willing to learn our partner's primary language if we are to be effective in communicating our love. Seldom do a husband and wife have the same primary love language. We tend to speak our primary language, and we become confused when our mate does not understand what we are communicating. We are expressing our love, but the message does not come through because we are speaking what to them is a foreign language. If we want him or her to feel the love we are trying to communicate, we must express it in his or her primary love language. One of our most fundamental needs is to be loved and accepted. When we feel loved, we feel happy and content. Life is good, and we feel able to take on life's challenges. When we don't feel loved, we may feel alone, full of anger and resentment or frustration. Speaking the right language to each other can make all the difference in the world. Let's begin by looking at the 5 love languages. The first love language is words of affirmation. Actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words, "I love you," are important. Insults can leave you shattered and are not easily forgotten. One way to express love emotionally is to use words that build up. Verbal compliments or words of appreciation are powerful communicators of love. They are best expressed in simple, straightforward statements of affirmation, such as, "You look good in that. You are the best cook in the world. I love these. I really appreciate you washing the dishes tonight. Thanks for lining up the babysitter." Another form of affirmations is encouraging words. Perhaps your partner has untapped potential in one or more areas of life. Your encouraging words may make the difference. This doesn't mean pressuring them. It means encouraging them. Kind words, the way we say something, is exceedingly important. Humble words, love makes requests, not demands. Some other ideas include setting a goal to give your partner a different compliment each day for 1 month. Compliment your spouse in the presence of his parents or friends. Look for your partner's strengths and tell him or her how much you appreciate these. Tell your children how great their mother or father is. Another love language is quality time. Nothing says "I love you" like full, undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down, and all chores and tasks on standby makes your significant other feel truly special and loved. Distractions Postponed dates or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. To give quality time is to give a portion of your life. It means giving someone your undivided attention. At the moment, nothing else matters. It is doing something together and giving our full attention to the other person, not just being in close proximity. Quality time is a powerful communicator of emotional love. Unfortunately, it is much more difficult to speak than the other love languages because it does take time. Like the other love languages, the love language of quality time also has many variations. One of the most common is that of quality conversation. Quality conversation means a dialogue between each person, where each is free to share their experiences, thoughts, feelings, and desires in a friendly, accepting atmosphere. Words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focuses on what we are hearing. Questions are asked not in a badgering manner, but with a genuine desire to understand the other person's thoughts, feelings, and desires. Some guidelines for quality time are maintain eye contact when the other person is talking, don't listen and do something else at the same time, listen for feelings, observe body language. Sometimes body language speaks one message while words speak another. Ask for clarification. Refuse to interrupt. Research has indicated that the average individual listens for only 17 seconds before interrupting and interjecting his own ideas. Such interruptions often stop the conversation before it gets started. The manner in which you talk is extremely important. Effective talking focuses on sharing your own thoughts, feelings, and desires, not on attacking those of the other person. Use I statements rather than you. I think, I feel, I want. You statements stop the flow of dialogue. I statements open the road to further discussion. Some other ideas to improve quality time is learning to talk. Not only does quality conversation require sympathetic listening, but it is also about sharing our feelings with our spouse. One way to learn new patterns is to establish a daily sharing time in which each of you will talk about 3 things that happened to you that day and how you feel about them. Quality activities may include anything in which one or both of you have an interest. The emphasis is not on what you are doing, but on why you are doing it. Ask your spouse for a list of 5 activities that he or she would enjoy doing with you. Make plans to do one of them each month for the next 5 months. Make time every day to share with each other some of the events of the day. The third love language is receiving gifts. Don't mistake this love language for materialism. The receiver of gifts thrives on the love, thoughtfulness, and effort behind the gift. If you speak this language, the perfect gift or gesture shows that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring the gift to you. A missed birthday, anniversary, or a hasty, thoughtless gift would be disastrous. So would the absence of everyday gestures. A gift is something you can hold in your hand and say, "Look, he was thinking of me," or "She remembered me." Gifts are visible, tangible evidence of emotional love. It is important to understand the essential nature of a gift. A gift is not something that someone deserves. It is given because you want to share unconditional love. Another important aspect of gift giving is that it should be done with some measure of ceremony. Think back on a significant gift you received in the past. What was it? Who gave it to you? How was it wrapped? How was it presented? Chances are the more effort the giver put into packaging and presenting, the more love you felt. The purpose of gift giving is not simply to get an object from one person's hand to another. The purpose is to express emotional love. We want the person to sense deeply, "I care about you. I think you are important. I love you." When we diminish the ceremony, we diminish the emotional power of the gift. If you are to become an effective gift giver, you may have to change your attitude about money. Some of us are savers and some of us are spenders. Remember, it's important to meet the emotional needs of your mate, not yourself. The gift of self speaks more loudly than a gift that can be held in one's hand. It is being there when your spouse needs you. Physical presence in a time of crisis is the most powerful gift you can give if your spouse's primary love language is receiving gifts. Keep a gift idea notebook. Every time you hear your partner say, "I really like that," or, "Oh, I would really like to have one of those," write it down. Listen carefully and you will get quite a list. This will serve as a guide when you get ready to select a gift. Ask a friend or family member who knows your partner to help you. Offer the gift of presence. The next love language is acts of service. Remember the phrase, "Actions speak louder than words"? That speaks volumes to the person who loves simple acts of service. Can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love? Absolutely. Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibilities weighing on an acts of service person will speak volumes. The words he or she most wants to hear are, "Let me do that for you." Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tell those with this language their feelings don't matter. By acts of service, I mean doing things you know your spouse will like you to do. If done with a positive spirit, they are indeed expressions of love. Make a list of all the requests your partner has made of you over the past few weeks. Select one of these each week and do it as an expression of love. While your partner is away, get the children to help you with some act of service for him or her. What one act of service has your spouse nagged about consistently? If your spouse's requests for acts of service come across as nags or put-downs, try writing them in words that would be less offensive to you. The last love language is physical touch. This language isn't all about the bedroom. A person whose primary language is physical touch is not surprisingly very touchy. Hugs, pats on the back, holding hands, and thoughtful touches on the arm, shoulder, or face, they can all be ways to show excitement, concern, care, and love. Physical presence and accessibility are crucial, while neglect or abuse can be unforgivable and destructive. There's undeniable emotional power in touching those we love. That's why parents are encouraged to hold and cuddle infants. On the other end of life, physical touch is also an emotional communicator. Who has not walked the halls of nursing homes and seen senior adults sitting in wheelchairs, extending a hand which desires to be touched? Of course, this applies in marriages too. To determine our partner's primary language, ask questions. If you wish to know what is going on inside a person's mind, one of the best ways to find out is to ask questions. Make observations. Really observe your spouse's behavior. Look for ways in which he or she expresses love or appreciation to others. Keep notes on what you observe. Most people have a tendency to speak their own love language. They do for others what they wish others would do for them. Observe also the complaints of the person. What a person complains about is a clue to his or her primary love language. Look for the patterns and whether they fall into the same category. Also observe the person's requests, such as, "Will you go for a walk with me?" He is requesting quality time. Experiment. Focus on a different language each week and observe the response. Spend a week giving more physical touches than normal. The next week, draw back from touching and give words of affirmation. The following week, seek to do as many acts of service as you can. During the week that you are speaking your spouse's primary language, you will see a difference in her attitude toward you. The love tank is being filled and your partner is responding. Another option is to give choices between two options and keep a record of their choices. The choice is between a gift and quality time. A few days later, give another choice. As you keep a record of the choices, they will likely fall into a pattern which will reveal the primary love language. The concepts discussed in this webinar can also be applied with your children or teenagers. You can go online to 5lovelanguages.com to determine your language, your partner's, as well as your child's. There is also a free online study guide to help you take these concepts and apply them to your life. Speaking another person's love language may not come naturally, but there are many things we do every day that we don't want to do. We do them, however, because we believe there is a payoff for what we are doing. Usually, before the day is over, we feel good about doing it. The same is true with love. It is our most basic emotional need, and when that need is met, our self-worth increases along with our sense of security and the belief that we mean something to someone. Thank you for joining me for this webinar.